Hello everyone, this is Matthew Frailey with BreakpointTrades.com. As you can see by the slide here, I'm going to talk about platinum metal. As you know, I've been discussing platinum metal for the last couple months. I've been stating how, in my opinion, it's on the verge of a major breakout, not just for the short term, but for the long term because of severe supply-demand imbalances and, of course, the technical charts, which I specialize in. Platinum actually broke out of its coil 3 weeks ago, consolidated last week, and had a major breakout this week and, of course, today. So, again, I've been meaning to make this video for a while, but decided to finally had some time, so let's discuss it. So, as gold has been in the, everyone's been focused on gold for the last year plus. Last year in February, March, I issued a major buy on gold. It was starting to break out of a long-term basing pattern, and I gave a target of $3,000 or higher, and obviously that was more than achieved. So gold's had its big run. It's in a bull market, but it's now time for platinum. So here is a weekly chart of platinum. So you can see this beautiful coil pattern. It broke out of this coil pattern 3 weeks ago. Again, we've been discussing platinum at Breakpoint Trades for the last couple months. While it was inside the coil pattern, I started scaling in, purchasing physical platinum bars while it was in the pattern, and buying the tradable ETF. Been scaling into it. Had a big breakout the previous week. Then I had a consolidation week. That was another opportunity to buy some on a pullback. Remember, after a breakout, buying on a pullback is your lower risk trade unless you buy inside the pattern. And huge pop today. Again, maybe short term it's a little overbought, some people think, on a daily, but I put this out as a macro play, guys, because of the supply demand imbalances. And that's what commodities move on in the long term, is the supply chain. And so let's go ahead and get started here. Like I said, platinum, it's not just from a technical standpoint, but from supply and demand issue. Now, the thing about supply and demand and fundamental analysis, it's all about timing. Okay, you can be early, you can be late on timing, and that's where technical analysis comes in. It helps you with the timing. You don't want to buy a stock many months before it's way too early to buy it, or if it's still in a downtrend. You use your technical analysis to time that, and the charts suggest that it's time. Okay, like I said, supply demand imbalances have been building for years. Okay, and finally the technical analysis charts suggest it's ready to run. Okay, couple things: platinum gold ratio, which I've been showing for the last few months, hit a historical low of 0.29 about a month ago. Never hit that area. Okay, platinum has been forming a coil pattern since 2021, and it has obviously started to break out. So let's take a look at the charts, and then we'll go ahead and move to the fundamental analysis. So here's the weekly chart of platinum. This is actually the ETF. The ETF has a really beautiful coil here. Again, it broke out 3 weeks ago on very nicely expanding volume. Consolidated 1 week, I bought more there, and then a huge breakout this week, already up 7.9% this week. Here is platinum metal on the weekly. Again, the coil is not as pretty here on the platinum metal itself, but you can see the same breakout. And with today's move, it cleared that previous high at 1100 in 2024. Here is a monthly chart of platinum. And you can see, again, platinum, you can see this goes back to 2006. You can see that big sell-off in 2008 during that financial crisis. But, platinum is always, historically traded higher than gold. And you can see here, $2,000, and it just started declining. And, really for the last 4 or 5 years, it's been consolidated into a very beautiful coil pattern, and in a 5-wave textbook pattern. A, B, C, D, E. Been showing this monthly coil for quite a while. You can see breaking out of the coil this month on expanding volume, up 8.75% for the month. You could also see the moving average ribbon here, how it's been pinching, squeezing. Whenever it does that, energy is pent up. It's like a coiled spring. You can see it's starting to curl up, and now that energy is on the very early stages of being released. This could go a long way, guys. I think platinum could double over time. I'm showing this as a macro play, not just a short-term trade. Again, you can certainly trade it short-term. I know quite a few people were long following my platinum call recently, took profits today. But again, I'm viewing this as a long-term play because I think it could easily double. Here's the platinum gold ratio. Again, you can see, back in the early 2000s, the ratio was 2/2. Again, historically, gold has been or platinum has been more expensive than gold. This goes all the way back to the late 70s. And you can see this decline started in, say, 2008, 2009. And you can see hit a recent low of 0.29. You can see it's been in this downtrend channel, the ratio. Finally curling up here this month as platinum has bounced. Now, why is platinum sold off so much? I'll get into that, but a lot of that is due to, the EV revolution. I think folks thought that there was going to be, no use for catalytic converters eventually, and the selling got way overdone. But again, I'll get back into that in the fundamental slides. Here's the daily chart of the platinum ETF. Again, short term, it is getting a bit extended. You can see today's huge gap up 3.85% alone today, up at the upper Bollinger Bands. You can see the coil pattern that broke out a couple weeks ago, rallied up, was quite extended above its upper Bollinger Bands. I took some profits there, bought back, and then boom, up again. Look at the volume on this breakout. So very healthy breakout, healthy MACD, no divergence. Yeah, it's a little overbought short term, but again, this is all about a long-term play, guys. And here's a 60-minute chart of the Platinum ETF. So you can see this nice little tight coil pattern. I talked about this in mid-May. We put this out on our video newsletters on YouTube, and it was on our trade ideas in our newsletters as a long idea. So this was really the ideal spot to take this. Back around $90 was the breakout here. So heck of a move from there. Now, let's talk about the fundamental analysis. Okay, so platinum is trading at a significant discount compared to gold and other precious metals. Like I said, over the last year, gold has gotten all the love, and silver did initially. Then it went into about an 8-month consolidation, and just recently silver is starting to break out. Again, I'll talk about silver another time. I think that has huge potential as well. But now it's platinum's turn. Historically, platinum has been more expensive than gold, suggesting potential for higher price appreciation. We're in a bottoming cycle, as suggested by the technical analysis. Severe supply-demand imbalances for the last 3 years, which I'll discuss more detail in a second. Growing industrial demand with catalysts, new battery tech. So a lot of the new battery tech is going to be using platinum, green energy, stuff like that. Platinum is also approximately 30 times rarer than gold, with an annual mine total production of about 5 million ounces compared to 82 million ounces of gold. Also, platinum is mined in only a very few places. About 90% comes from South Africa, which is fraught with challenges, labor, energy, and all kinds of stuff. And the rest 10%, Zimbabwe and Russia. So not a lot of sources for it. Again, severe demand imbalances. So demand has exceeded supply for the last 3 years, guys. Well, think about that. So that can only last so long. Again, commodities move in these long-term cycles by supply and demand. And so now that demand is, I think, starting to catch up and push price higher. So for example, 2024, we had a deficit of almost 1 million ounces. That means demand was about 1 million ounces over supply. Okay, and remember, as I covered in that last slide, total annual production of platinum is only about 5 million ounces. So with a 1 million ounce greater demand, I mean, that's 20%. That's huge. Okay. Investment demand, and also this deficit has occurred for the last 3 years. So this has been ongoing, and that cannot sustain itself. Investment demand is increasing through ETFs and futures, along with soaring demand in China recently. Also, like I said, fundamentally, the platinum selling was greatly overdone due to the belief that the EV revolution would result in less platinum needed for vehicle catalytic converters, right? Well, we all know, while EVs are here to stay, that has definitely slowed down a lot due to the problems with EVs. And, gas cars are here to stay for a while. Plus, like I said, there's plenty of other demand for platinum and all kinds of new battery tech and green technology and medicines and everything else. Okay. Now, here's the big thing. What's another reason we have a supply and demand imbalance? Because price has fallen so far on platinum. Remember, platinum used to be over 2,000 an ounce. It fell to the upper 900s at the lows. Approximately 30% of the mines stopped mining platinum over the last few years because the cost to mine an ounce of platinum exceeded the price to sell it. So it wasn't worth it. Mines would lose money, so they shuttered. And that is further exasperating the supply-demand issue. Okay? Like I said, there's other things here, industrial demand, its unique properties. Again, I don't need to go through all these, but the point is, guys, you can see the point here about the supply and demand issues. Only 5 million ounces mined a year, and there's a 1 million ounce imbalance, which is 20%. So quite huge. China's role in the platinum markets. Like I said, strategic important. Platinum is one of the largest consumers of platinum and palladium. By the way, I'm also bullish on palladium, and I'll show a couple charts of that as well. Due to its massive automotive and industrial sectors, they launched these recent futures contracts, and they aim to have more control over price and supply chain of these critical metals. So, hydrogen initiative in China with the green technology that also uses platinum, and recently they launched futures contracts. So, again, more fundamental reasons. Here's palladium, and now palladium recently hasn't had a big move like platinum, but you can see palladium has been downtrending, and it's forming a big weekly basing pattern. If you know your technical analysis, these basing patterns, they call them stage one Weinstein base. If you've ever read that book, and so definitely this is also an interesting metal to start accumulating. You can also see the moving average ribbon, how it's really pinched here. Energy is really bent up. Now, many ways to invest in platinum. Like I said, you could buy PPLT, or that's the platinum ETF, but for palladium, you can buy PALL is an ETF. Also, I like this SPPP. This is 50% platinum and palladium, so you get the best of both. Again, you can see the really nice base here. Look at those volume patterns. You can see how the moving average ribbon's been really pinched and just starting to curl up. And here is the daily SPPP. You can see, again, I've been showing this in the newsletters over the last month, guys. So you had plenty of opportunity to buy this. You can see this resistance broke out, pulled back, formed a bull flag, and has rallied this week. Look at that volume patterns. Just gorgeous. Again, these are for long term, guys. So even though they've already had a move, it's not too late if you're a long-term trader. Okay. And that's one thing I'm going to start focusing here on Breakpoint Trades. I'm going to add a section for long-term fundamental plays. A year ago, I put one out for gold and silver. Several years ago, I put one out on uranium. And also, I think world markets, emerging markets, EEM, EFA, are set to outperform the US markets. So I see some of these sectors a few times a year that are good for macro long-term trends. And I'm going to add a section on the website for that. Now, back to platinum, palladium. I also added mechanical trade systems to our website. So let's take a look at those. So here's our website, breakpointtrades.com. Again, you know the drill. We've been here since 2003. All right, so go to the systems section, and I added the platinum systems in the KISS systems. So let's take a look at that. So when you go to the KISS systems, first off, we have our standard KISS systems that we run on over 750 stocks and ETFs, and we have our high performance systems. Now, you can find platinum and palladium in just the standard KISS systems, PPLT. So here's PPLT. You can see it's currently in a trade. It's up 18%. It went long on April 24th, and it's currently got a smart trailing stop at 97.80, which is well over the 88.40 entry price. SPP is also here. PALL is also here. Now, let's take a look at the high performance section. So here's the high performance section. And again, I've been discussing this for quite a while. We have amazing trades here. We run the KISS systems on these intraday time frames. They alert you via text message, via SMS, and you can go ahead and set your favorites, but we have amazing trades here. You can see uranium, NVIDIA, etc. Look at these awesome gains here. And we can see platinum and SPP, which is 50% platinum and palladium. You can see those are all long. And here's the trade statistics. You can click on here, and you can see all the trade history. You can look at the statistics. Here's the statistics. And you can also compare the platinum system, KISS system, to buy and hold. So platinum system's up about 21% this year on 8 trades. Max drawdown of 1.34. You can see only one slight losing year. Average annual gain is 20.3% with an average max drawdown of only 3.79. Buy and hold is actually negative, lost 2.35%. Why? Because more than half of the years are down years. Okay, platinum has been downtrending, but the KISS system, even though platinum has been downtrending for years, and again, I think that's changing now, it is overall done very well. So we added this to the KISS systems. You can set a favorite, get alerts, etc. So again, all about building out these systems and giving you the best resources. Now, if you're not a subscriber to Breakpoint Trades, you should definitely consider subscribing. We have 5 detailed market newsletters per week where I discuss things like platinum, palladium, and the markets. We have trade ideas. We have all these systems. I just showed you some. We have an active trading community. So click on the enroll button. Click sign up now. And here's our memberships. Here's our KISS memberships and our standard memberships. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for watching this video. I'm Matthew Frailey, founder of BreakpointTrades.com. Founded it in 2003, so we've been here quite a long time. Again, thanks for all your support, and looking forward to continuing to guide you guys through these markets and helping you make money. Take care.